Welcome to the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York. The NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Student athletes from 6 schools are here to prove they deserve to be recognized as being the best of the best. Hi, everybody. Along with 2-time Olympic gold medalist Bart Conner, I'm Mike Gleason as we get set to crown the national champion for 2010. Great to have you with us. And Bart, you look at Stanford, they're back to defend their crown. Your alma mater, Oklahoma, they've won 3 of the last 5 national titles, but Illinois comes in ranked number 1. Michigan finished on top in the qualifying session. Makes it kind of tough, even for guys like you, to figure out who the favorite is.
Yeah, this is the most wide open field I've seen in a long time, and we've been doing this for a long time, Mike. But when you look on the qualifying scores, Michigan, Stanford, and Oklahoma look spectacular in the qualifying rounds. But look back to the conference championships. Illinois beat Michigan in the Big Ten. And in the Mountain Pacific Sports Federation championships, Cal beat Stanford and came within 1/10 of a point of beating the Oklahoma Sooners. So this is wide open. It's going to come down to execution, and I think it's going to be the last guy and the last event and the last rotation that's going to determine it.
With that being said, what's the key to bring home a national championship?
You talk to the coaches, and they're all concerned about pommel horse. That seems to be the great equalizer. So all else being equal, it's the team who hits pommel horse that should win the championship.
Bart, 12 schools arrived here for qualifying. These are the 6 schools who pushed their way into the finals. Again, Stanford, reigning champions. Michigan finished second last year, while Oklahoma has 5 titles since 2000. For the first rotation, Oklahoma opens on floor, where they are ranked number 1. Should be a great first rotation, Bart, because Michigan's number 2 in the parallel bars, and Stanford number 2 in their event as well.
Tim Gentry on the vault is the junior, the 2-time All-American, and boy, is this young man explosive. This vault is a handspring double front somersault with a start value of 16.6 if he hits it perfect. Look at the speed and the power. Very high, a little bit over-rotated, and he had to pull his knees apart to increase that rotation, but still an impressive score.
A 16, he had a 15.95 last year's competition. Over on the rings, Brandon Wynn. Ohio State currently ranked number 1 in the country.
And this young man has the highest start value by far of anybody in this team final. 6.7 is his degree of difficulty, and you can just see how strong he is. This All-American was 8th in the all-around last year at the NCAA championships, and he's fulfilling all the requirements. The judges require the gymnast to show a swing to strength move like that, and he freezes it in a perfect position. You need additional strength moves, a swing to handstand type element.
I know how difficult pommel horse is, but when I watch this event, this looks extremely difficult.
These guys are almost superhuman. You see how strong they are to hit all the proper positions. Each strength move has to be held for 2 seconds to get full credit. This is clean. You're looking at a big score if he can just nail his dismount. Nice double, twisting double at the end for Brandon Wynn. Look at how precise these positions are, the control in the rings, how tight his body line is, and a very difficult dismount with good form. It's going to be a big score.
Well, it's a 16. Wynn, a junior captain of the Buckeyes, has led the nation all season long. So we start with a pair of 16s. Now to the floor exercise, where Oklahoma's Jacob Dalton is up, and he is currently ranked number 3 in the country.
And this was a highly recruited freshman out of Reno, Nevada, a member of the junior national team for many years, and now a member of the U.S. senior national team. Competed for the U.S. at the World Championships in London last fall. What an opening tumbling run. Arabian double front in a pike position. We've talked often about Stephen Legendre at OU, who's now a junior, who is, you know, one of the strongest and most powerful tumbler and vaulters I've ever seen. Well, Jake Dalton, at just a freshman, is certainly the heir apparent to Legendre's success at Oklahoma.
Legendre currently ranked number 1 in the country. The Sooners holding down 3 of the top 5 spots on the floor.
This wide arm handstand is one of the requirements on the floor exercise. It's called a non-acrobatic element. Of course, the judges are looking for forward, backward tumbling, good combinations like that. That was a whip to a Thomas, invented by the famous U.S. gymnast Kurt Thomas. Another great combination. Now, the rules in NCAA gymnastics are just like the international rules, except one thing. On floor exercise, there's no time limit. At the Olympic level, you have to finish your routine within 70 seconds. Oh, just a little sloppy on that landing, but a very high triple twist at the end for Dalton. Let's take a look at this combination. There's a whip to the Thomas, which is a back flip with a 1.5 twist and 1 3/4 flips. Nicely done. And look at how effortless this triple twist is at the end. In fact, he had a little bit too much juice. What a talent.
A 15.350 for the freshman Jacob Dalton. Now, Stanford's Tom Gleelmeans, Cardinal, missed out on a national title 2 years ago in Palo Alto. Bounced back to win it all last year. He talked to us about the formula to repeat as champs.
The plan has been to have the highest difficulty of any team. So that said, if every team hits every routine to the best of their ability, the team with the highest difficulty would be on top. We're that team. Now we execute. So, you know, there's been a plan throughout the year, and the guys are on board with it, and we're going to repeat.
Good plan, Bart, and a lot of confidence there.
Well, he's right to be confident because based on start value, Stanford does have an advantage, especially on an event like Vol. Here's Gymnastics. Oh, nice looking 2.5 twister. Just a little shorter rotation. Boy, I love the technique and the form in the air, but look, you can see he's a little bit surprised at the landing as he doesn't quite finish the twist and the rotation at the proper time.
Josh Dixon gets a 16.0. He had a 16.4 at the conference championships. We'll be back with more from Rotation 1, including Stephen Legendre of Oklahoma, ranked #1 on the floor, and the defending national all-round champion.
The NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship is presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up.
Mark Williams Sooners of Oklahoma just won their 10th conference title in 12 years. The coach pointed out the significance of that crown.
That was exciting, and I think we did a pretty good job. There's certainly areas that we can improve on, and we've worked on in practice up till now. And if we make some of the changes that we've done throughout our practices in between the conference meeting now, I'll be real happy.
Well, Bart Williams has to be happy every time Stephen Legendre is performing at a floor exercise. This guy's unbelievable.
He is unbelievable. This routine is so difficult with a start value of 6.6 if he does all the combinations. And just look at the height on that opening tumbling combination. Now watch this move. This is an Arabian double front with a full twist at the end in a laid out position. I mean, the guy's got muscles in his teeth.
Does that help in this exercise?
Well, it certainly doesn't hurt. Look at this combination. Whip to a Thomas, and he just floats out of the sky. Last year, he won the NCAA championship on this event and, in fact, competed in the World Championships in the finals on floor in London. He's as good as anybody at the world or Olympic level on this event, no question.
7 times this year, Legendre's won the title on floor, most recently at the NPSF Championship.
That wide arm handstand, called a Japanese handstand, is one of those non-acrobatic elements that are required by the judges. But most of the routine is filled with combinations like this. Beautiful laid out Thomas. A little shaky as he turned into that corner. He doesn't necessarily have a very fluid movement, but there's no denying the power and explosiveness. Look at that Arabian double front in a pike position at the end of the routine. I mean, most guys would be proud to be able to do that at the beginning. He really did 6 explosive tumbling passes. This is the second pass. This is called a Hipólito. It was invented by a great gymnast from Brazil, and yet I think he only wishes he could do it as effortlessly as Legendre does. This is the Arabian pike double front at the end, and he's very open in that piked position. Incredible endurance to finish that routine.
A 16.0 for Legendre, just off of his high for the year of 16.1 on the floor. Stanford's Eddie Penev has a high of 16.4 on the vault, only a freshman bar.
And he competed for Bulgaria at the World Championships. Both of his parents, born in Bulgaria, were members of their national team. This young man is incredible. The start value on this vault is a 6.8, which means a 16.8 would be the maximum score. Nice! Now watch how complex this is. This is called a Yurchenko half-on and the laid-out front somersault with a double twist, and he points his toes throughout. Really clean execution for Penev.
Penev with a 16.4, and that matches his season high, and so far that's the top score in this competition tonight. Cal opening on high bar. This is Kyle Bunthawong, a member of the senior national team. He has 4 titles on the high bar this year, including the conference championship. As we flash back to last year, you remember Bunthawong slipped just a little bit while performing on the high bar.
And basically what happened at the end of a very long routine, he just ran out of gas.
And Kyle takes us back to that night in Minnesota and relives that fall.
I always tend to look back on that event just to keep me going, because there's always room for improvement. So I always look back at that and hope for the best.
Well, speaking of hoping for the best, Bunthawong closed out the regular season with a 14.95 against Penn State and then duplicated that number at the conference meet.
This is a very explosive, talented young gymnast. He has goals of competing at the World Championships and the Olympics, and I see no reason why he can't. He really has it all. Look at his power and the opening release move. He has the combination of strength and technique here and a very fluid movement. Full taka. Oh, his hand slipped a little on a move called a full Takamoto. And by his hand slipping, it caused him to miss a possible connection.
Nice job of keeping his composure just to stay on the bar.
You have to show flight elements near the bar. This type of move is called an L grip or a dorsal hang. You have to show a move like that on the bar. He's fulfilled all the requirements. Now, all he has left is the dismount. Let's see if he has enough endurance this year to get to the end. Okay. Just a little botched combination earlier in the routine. Here's what that move is called, a full Takamoto, invented by a great Japanese gymnast back in the 60s. And his hand slipped a little bit, but he kept the rhythm going to give away no major deduction. And here at the end, a little bit better technique this year and a little stronger endurance at the end of these very long routines to finish the double layout with a double twist.
He and his teammate Glenn Ashino finished 1-2 at the conference championship. Over in the parallel bars, Michigan's Chris Cameron, one of 3 senior national team members, getting all set to fly over to Australia to compete in the Pacific Rim Championships, where China and Japan will also compete in that event.
Cameron is the first Michigan gymnast in 10 years to make the senior national team. Also an incredible talent. Very difficult parallel bar routine. And this event is an advantage for Michigan because they have high level of difficulty and clean execution. Both of those things lead to typically very good scores. Look at his technique and toe point.
Cameron having a great year, the all-around champion at the Big Ten meet and also the Big Ten Gymnast of the Year, Bart.
I really like the fact that he has such a variety of skills in this routine. Very high. Back toss to handstand, pike double back. Michigan is very strong on parallel bars. Cameron is also a contender for the all-around title today. Very complete gymnast. Really no weakness anywhere. Nice.
Cameron's high score this year came in the final regular season meet against the Buckeyes of Ohio State, a 15.25. And Chris Cameron of Michigan pulling in a 15.15. I'm sure he's happy with that. And the standings after the first rotation, the defending national champion, the Cardinal of Stanford on top, followed by Oklahoma, Ohio State, Michigan, and Cal. Illinois had to sit and watch. Now they can jump into the competition. The 2010 Men's Volleyball Championship will take place at Stanford at Maples Pavilion. Coverage begins with the national semifinals on Thursday, May 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the 2010 Men's Volleyball Championship, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships. Welcome back inside the Hollander Center. Mike Gleason along with Bart Conner, who won 2 Olympic golds at the 84 games. Youngest member of that 76 U.S. Olympic team today on the rings for our Home Depot coaching clinic.
How long is 2 seconds? Well, I can tell you, when a gymnast lowers down into an iron cross on the rings for 2 seconds to get full credit, I can tell you 2 seconds feels like a very long time. The timing of these moves could be a key in today's meet, because many of the top gymnasts have as many as 3 or 4 strength or hold moves in their routines. There's no longer a 1/10 of a point deduction on these hold moves, so under the current rules, if they do not hold it for a full 2 seconds, they can receive a deduction of as much as 3/10 of a point each time. So when a gymnast lowers down into one of these almost superhuman strength moves, start counting 1 1,000 and 2 1,000. If they don't make it, their score could suffer. That's our Home Depot coaching clinic.
I don't think I could hold it for 2 seconds, Bart. Let's take a look at the lineup for the second rotation now. You'll see Cal will be on the floor exercise. Oklahoma sitting this one out with that bye. We'll start on the horse. Illinois is ranked number 1 in the country, and Daniel Ribeiro, Bart, is also number 1 in the country.
Well, he's incredible on this event. He was an alternate to the 2009 World Championship team for the U.S., particularly because he's so good here. Last year's NCAA champ on this event. He does a high level of difficulty, as much as 6.5 points. Oh, look at that nice move right there. He did a full care and what's called a full Stockley. Good combination here on one pommel. Little bit shaky, but he's fighting it. Lots of difficulty in this routine. His rhythm is off just a little bit, but I gotta say, he is really digging through. This was happened in the team finals. These guys fight for every 10th of a point. He will get some deductions. Boy, there's a lot of difficulty, but in this combination on one pommel, this move on one pommel right there where he goes all the way around, called a Russian, pretty sloppy form. He did not give away a major deduction test.
14.2. You mentioned he won the national title on this last year with a 15.575. On the parallel bars now, Stanford's Ryan Lieberman. Bart, here's a young man who really stepped it up at the NCAAs last year. He got his season's best on rings, vault, and this event with a 14.75.
In fact, he took 5th place in the finals last year at the NCAA championships. He's 5 feet 10 inches tall, but boy, can he swing this event. Watch this mount. That's a peach with a full twist. Another peach basket with a half twist, and another one straight arms to handstand. Very difficult and clean work below the bars. There's a good combination right there, a move called a Makuts. Boy, this is a strength for Stanford. They're very good on parallel bars. High difficulty and clean execution.
Two years ago as a rookie, he had a 15.5 at Michigan. He gets a 15.25. And we move to the high bar where the Michigan Wolverines are currently number 1 on this apparatus. So this is the Wolverines' Ian Mikowski.
The junior out of Reading, Connecticut, has given most of his contributions to the Michigan team. Really excellent performances on floor and high bar in particular. Watch this combination here. Full Takamoto, Veronin to a Ginger. 3 moves connected. Beautiful. If he gets all the difficulty in this routine, he would have a start value of 16.0. Good hop, full pirouette. A little bit out of line on that 1.5. Judges looking for those in-bar moves, that L-grip type position. He's got a lot of variety of skills here. Only thing left is a dismount. Nice double-double. He did it in a tuck position, but boy, he drilled it like a dart going into a dartboard. This is that move called a quast. It's a 1.5 hop over the bar. And here's that double-double. And watch this finish. This is becoming known as the He-Man pose at the end of the routine.
Nicely done. A 15.050 for Ian Mikowski. His high score this year, 15.10. That came against Illinois. Speaking of Illinois, Luke Stannard, second in the country behind his teammate Daniel Ribeiro on the horse, but second to no one when it comes to an award that's held in high esteem in the world of gymnastics, an award that you won, Bart.
The other night, he was presented the Nissen Emery Award, which is essentially the Heisman Trophy of men's gymnastics, given to the top senior student athlete. Luke is a great leader and a very deserving winner of that award.
And the third recipient from Illinois for the Nissen Emery Award is head coach Justin Spring, won it back in 2006.
He's 6 feet 1 inches tall, 180 pounds, and has a very difficult pommel horse routine. Nice travels in a cross position down across the horse. Oh, beautiful combination into a single leg work. He won the U.S. National Championships on this event last year. Look at this combination on the end, and he's not done. He goes all the way to the other end. Very difficult routine and a high start value for sure.
Luke Stannard closed out the regular season with 4 straight titles. Season high 15.80 against Michigan. Stannard pulls in a 15.15. Nicholas Noon of Stanford now on the parallel bars.
Here's a 2-time All-American. He delivered some key routines for Stanford last year in their team championship here. Very nice rhythm and clean execution. Beautiful high release move above the bars, a front straddle, 1 1/4. I talked to Coach Tom Gleelmy before the meet, and I said I was really impressed with not only the start values and the high level of difficulty, but just the form and rhythm with his team, and he's very proud of their execution this year. There's that front 1 1/4. He catches and swings backward to a straddle back to a handstand. Nicely done.
Last year's sophomore's high was 14.8. We pushed that to 15.4 this year. And a 15.45, so that's a career high now for Nicholas Noon of the Stanford Cardinal. Let's go back to the high bar. Mel Anton Santander finished second to fellow Wolverine Chris Cameron in the all-around at the Big Ten Championships. And Bart, twice this year, he was named the National Gymnast of the Week.
The high score so far for Michigan on the high bar is Mikowski's 15.05. Brian McCarthy had a 14.75, so they're doing well there. But if Michigan hopes to contend for the title today, they're going to have to hit on their big events. This is a nice combination. That's called a German giant. That fulfills that dorsal grip position. A little bit of a bent arm when he came out of it. Now remember, all of these pirouetting skills have to finish within 30 degrees of vertical for no deductions. Some of his moves were a little bit questionable as to whether they will get maybe 1 or 3/10 of a point deduction. But a great dismount, a full twisting double layout, and drilled it.
His high score this year, a 15.25 at Ohio State, where he finished second, but he did win the all-around that night. And Mel Anton Santander pulls in a 14.90. Standings after 2 rotations. Stanford, the defending champ, still in the driver's seat, but 5 rotations to go. We'll return to West Point for rotation 3 on the other side. Welcome back to West Point, New York, in the NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I'm with Bart Conner, Mike Gleason here. Great to have you with us. We've completed 2 rotations. And Bart, here's the average score per gymnast.
Well, because there's a bye, no team has done the same number of events until the final rotation. So here's at least a relative comparison. And as you can see, Stanford has the lead.
And here's where the gymnasts are headed for their 3rd rotation. Michigan moves to the floor. Oklahoma gets a chance to see if they can tame the pommel horse. Cal will sit this one out with a bye. On the floor, Michigan's Ben Baldestraus, the first to experience some pain tonight.
He was doing a difficult combination there, that Thomas, and his right hand, as he reached down to catch himself and roll out, it looked like he tweaked his right hand.
Wow, and he still gets a 15.25. Very good score for Michigan.
Be interesting to see if he can do the pommel horse later, where they expect him to do well.
His high had been a 15.0 against Stanford way back on February 27th. Jeremy Adams of Oklahoma on the horse. The walk-on freshman from Noonan, Georgia. He tied for 5th on the horse at the conference championship.
And what a fantastic story. This kid is 6 feet 2 inches tall. He was hoping to go to flight school and get into the Air Force Academy when Mark Williams noticed him at the U.S. Olympic Training Center working out. And he said, you ought to come to Oklahoma. So this young man walks on to Oklahoma, and he's an important contributor, especially on an event like this pommel horse, where he swings very nicely. We mentioned at the top of the show that coaches were all concerned about pommel horse. This is the critical event to get by. And notch in a success there for the Sooners.
And that being said, is that in the back of their mind until they get the horse out of the way?
Absolutely. They're all worried about getting 4 clean routines out of 6 on pommel horse. And they know if they don't get 4 clean routines, they don't have a chance at a team championship.
Stanford's Josh Dixon on the high bar. A junior from San Jose, a 4-time member of the USA Junior National Team.
He's a 3-time All-American his freshman year on floor, vault, and this event, the high bar. He really swings a beautiful high bar routine.
His best score on this apparatus this year, a 15.15.
Nice looking full pirouette. Watch this combination right here. Beautiful release move. Laid out front with a full twist with perfect execution. Incredible. Notice the smooth rhythm. He uses the bar, he flexes it through the bottom to help him pop those pirouetting skills. This is just beautiful gymnastics. Nice looking half Takamoto. He's tall at 5'9", but he really swings it out nicely. Oh, just a little under-rotated on that dismount. He tapped a little early and slung it forward.
So Josh Dixon gets a 14.75 for the Stanford Cardinal. Back on the floor, Chris Cameron of Michigan. His season average, 15.2. His best score, 15.65. He's currently ranked number 5 in the country in this event.
When he does all the difficulty in this routine, the maximum score he can get on this event is a 16.1. Good opening run. Laid out Thomas. Interesting story about this young man. From birth, he was born with a condition called hemihypertrophy, which means that his right leg has not developed the same as his left leg. And it's remarkable that he's such a balanced all-around gymnast. Not only is he great on the apparatus, but he's very powerful both on floor exercise and vault, although he is somewhat hindered by this. You can see there his right leg is thinner than his left leg. And yet he hasn't allowed that to curb his development in gymnastics. Remarkable.
That is amazing. And again, he is the Big Ten Gymnast of the Year.
He says it does hinder him a little bit on runs when he's running into the vault and some of his tumbling passes. But what an impressive young man to be able to be a balanced all-around gymnast with that condition.
Last year when the Wolverines finished second, Cameron, one of 5 Wolverines to earn All-America status.
Look how clean this is. This is a flare, spindle, hop to a handstand, and a dismount with a round off to a 2.5 twister. Clean job for Cameron. Boy, he's having a great meet.
Chris Cameron with a 15.6 for the Michigan Wolverines. Back to the horse, the Sooners' Alex Nadur, only a freshman. He has 5 titles this year on horse.
He has a lot of difficulty in this routine. Another freshman for the Sooners on this event. Talk about pressure in the national championship team final. And half of their key scores likely coming from freshmen on this event. Very nice execution. Nador's brother Anthony is on the team at Oklahoma as well, but Alex was the #1 recruit last year, highly sought after by every university, and the Sooners landed him. Let's coached by his father, Mike Nador, at the Gymnastics Club, Arizona Flares. What a great routine. Look for a big score there because there was lots of difficulty and nice, clean form throughout.
You had mentioned the conference championship. The Sooners hit 6 straight routines on horse at the conference meet.
Look how strong he is as he launches up to the handstand and that twisting, pirouetting move at the end. Nice.
Alex Nador, a rookie from Oklahoma, with a 15.45 on the horse.
The Sooners having a great rotation there.
Here's Tyler Williamson of Illinois on the rings. He's a senior. Williamson has 1 title this year, a 2nd and 2/3.
Career high last year at the team finals at the NCAA championships on this event, a 15.25. This young man at 5'6", 155 pounds is really strong. Much like what we saw from Brandon Wynn from Ohio State. Look at that swing to strength move. Nice position. Good start.
Most gymnasts are so well defined. How much time?
Oh! Did you see that?
Did the ring break?
The ring snapped. I have never seen a fiberglass ring snap like that. Unbelievable.
Wow.
Let's see what happened here. He's going to do like an in-locating move, and right here at the bottom where there's a lot of pressure. Oh. Well, I tell you, it's a good thing that there's an elastic bungee cord inside that ring. Otherwise, he could have been flat on his face.
Great point.
Wow.
I never would have known there was a bungee cord in there.
I didn't know there was either because I've never seen one of those rings opened. So hopefully he's okay. He gets some coaching from Ivan Ivankov, the 2-time world all-around champion. Look at that, at the national championships of all things.
Oh, Bart, obviously they have to replace the rings, but the big question is, how will this play out? What happens to Tyler Williamson's routine, and how will the other teams adjust once they do bring in the new rings? Rotation number 4 coming up just around the corner. Welcome back to the U.S. Military Academy in West Point, New York. Here's the lineup for the 4th rotation. Now, after a rare and somewhat bizarre circumstance where one of the rings broke, both rings were replaced between the 3rd and 4th rotation, which brings us up to our first Coke storyline. Which team adjusts the best to the changes?
Not only the new rings, but also getting them level, and the time that it has taken to get the new rings up has slowed up the progress of this meet. It'll be interesting to see who can adjust.
Here's Stanford's Alex Escalia, 2-time All-America on high bar. And here he is on floor. Barty finished 2nd to fellow Cardinal Eddie Panev during qualifying in this event yesterday with a 15.4.
Yeah, he's an outstanding gymnast. Does everything typically for Stanford except pommel horse. Start value of 6.5. Difficulty in this routine. Nice mount. His scores today, 15.3 on vault, 13.45 on P-bars, and 14.6 on high bar. So he has potential here to score well into the 15s with this event. Nice combination.
Bart, I should clarify, I said that 15.4 was 2nd to Panev, 2nd in their qualifying session. Where Stanford as a team ran away with the qualifying session with 359 points.
Yes, the national qualifier takes place the day before this championship, and some of the top teams, they can rest some of their superstars because they know they're going to get through to the final session. It's interesting how long these routines take. I mentioned earlier that in international competition, the routine has to last between 60 and 70 seconds. Some of these floor routines now are 6 or 7 tumbling passes and as much as 2 minutes in length. It's a long time to be out there. Too long in my impression.
Plus, you mentioned qualifying yesterday. You talk about the rings breaking, and it's a long day for these athletes.
Laid out Thomas, and he's not even done. He kept it in bounds. If you step out of bounds, you lose 1/10 of a point for 1 foot, 3/10 of a point for both. It's a nice routine, but it's just too long in my opinion. I'm sure he'll get a good score though.
15.4 in qualifying, a 15.25
tonight here for Alex Buscalia. Stephen Legendre of Oklahoma. Here we go. The Sooners now, the first to test out those new rings. Legendre's best score on the rings this year, 14-9, way back in January against Iowa.
His huge scores come from events like floor and vaulting, typically not from the rings. He's very strong here, but he did not do rings in the qualifying round because Coach Mark Williams wanted to rest him a little bit so he could be fresh for today's team championship. And he is, of course, a contender in the all-around competition as well.
He has 53 event titles in his career, 2 on rings, but both last year.
A little bit of swing in the rings. Struggling a little in that front giant swing. Just a little shaky. He looks tired. Oh, my goodness.
Oh, that hand came off the ring prematurely.
The right hand slipped off. He was doing a double back with a 1.5 twist. Let's see what happened. What a bizarre set of circumstances. We have a broken ring, and now one of our best gymnasts in the competition slips off the replacement rings. You can see the coaches are not happy.
Boy, look of frustration on Legendre's face, huh?
Yeah, this story isn't over. They're trying to basically chalk up the rings and rough them up because those rings came out of the workout gym and may not be competition ready.
Extra drama here at the 2010 championships. Meanwhile, here's Cal's Glenn Ashino on the horse.
Ashino has not had the best championship, struggled in the qualifying round, made some mistakes, but boy, I can't say enough about this young man's technique, difficulty, aggressive performance. Look how he just slashes through this routine. Very nice combinations, good difficulty, quick circles, very aggressive. I like this.
And keep in mind the first 2 Golden Bears in this rotation both fell.
And they need 4 out of 6 clean routines, 3 good ones, and that makes a 4th one. So Cal will get a strong score on the pommel horse. Ishino is clearly relieved.
4 times this year he scored in the 15s. He gets a 14.80 as we move back to the floor. Stanford's Eddie Panev ranks 2nd in this event. His high of 15.75 until last night, Bart. He ran away with this, recording a 15.9.
And this could be a highlight. This is a spectacular routine. Watch this tumbling run, double twisting, double layout, and he did it effortlessly. There's so many interesting combinations, tons of difficulty in this routine, but the execution is just superb. Clean landings. Both of this young man's parents from Bulgaria competed for their national team. Watch this tumbling pass here. This is one of my favorites. It's a 2.5 twister to a front double twister. Incredible. Beautiful. Now he has basically the same start value that we see from Stephen Legendre of Oklahoma. This routine is probably a little more elegant. It's amazing. When I competed, the gymnast did 3 tumbling passes and 1 sort of token side pass. Now 6 or 7 tumbling passes at NCAA competition is not uncommon, and you have to be out there a long time to get as many difficulty points as possible. Whip to a triple full, and he just drills it. What a spectacular finish. Now this is the pass that I like. It's a round off to a back 2.5, immediately to a layout front double twist. That combination is just world class. And here's the whip to triple full. Watch how quick he is and precise in the twist, and just drops out of the sky.
Panev, one of the future stars in this sport, only a freshman, a 15.85 on the floor. They swing back to the rings again. Oklahoma's Alex Nador, like Panev, just a freshman. Keep in mind we saw Stephen Legendre slip off the rings, so we've seen the rings break. We've seen the Oklahoma Sooner, one of the better gymnasts in the country, as you mentioned, slip off the rings, so the drama continues here.
The Doors having a very good competition on floor, had a 14.95. Pommel Horse, we saw that terrific performance, 15.45 for just a freshman. Nice combination, maybe just a little high in that iron cross position. The judges need to see the gymnast level with the rings. Everything has to be held, as we mentioned, a full 2 seconds, whether it's a simple move like an L like this, or a more difficult move like a planche like that. She's dismal. Oh!
Another slip.
Unbelievable, this time off the left ring. What a gifted athlete to figure out how to get onto his feet. Mark Williams says, what's going on here? Now, he was supposed to do this double backflip with 1.5 twists. When his hand peeled off, he had such air sense, he was able to pull it around to his feet.
Wow, Mark Williams very, very frustrated. It's going to be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out with the
this
rings.
Story's not over for sure.
Far from over. We certainly haven't seen or heard the last of the ring story. Sanford, after 4 rotations, still in the driver's seat with 243.45. Meanwhile, Stephen Legendre leading his Sooners over to the vault, where they are ranked number 1. Welcome back to the NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Mike Gleason along with Bart Connor. We're heading for rotation 5, and Bart, here's the average score per gymnast after 4.
Stanford, as expected, in the lead. They started on their strongest events.
Well, the rings have been a story at this year's event. They're still working on that apparatus, doing everything they can to get it right. Meanwhile, there is a meeting down on the floor. Let's listen in to Brian Meeker.
I'm going to start right now, guys. So here's the deal. We've got obviously a problem on rings. We had a lot of appeals after we switched it over. We felt that the rules committee met, and we said we're going to let the guys who appealed do the routines over again. Right now, that means we've got...
Well, that's certainly good news. Something I would assume they had to do, right, Bart?
And to the benefit of the gymnasts, I think it's a good ruling, but it's just hard to believe at a championship meet they're getting do-overs.
Here's where the schools are headed for the 5th rotation. As we mentioned, Oklahoma is number 1 on the vault. Oklahoma coming off of the rings where they had a couple of slips. There's Ian Jackson of Oklahoma, who won the vault title at the conference championship.
He tore his Achilles tendon before the first meet last year. And look at that. Incredible technique, power, and form in that 2.5 twister. Great job.
16.15, that's the 4th time he's scored in the 16s on the vault. Chris Cameron now of Michigan on the horse. His season average just shy of 15, 14.937.
This is an excellent event for Cameron. He has the perfect physique for pommel horse. He's light, good extension over the horse, and he's got some terrific, spectacular flare-type movements you'll see that sort of highlight his routine. These are the flares invented by Kurt Thomas, American world champion many years ago. But watch this variation. He's doing a spindling flare, which means he's twisting his body in the opposite direction that he is doing his circles. Look at the clean form. Typically his start value is over 6, sometimes as much as 6.2 when he hits everything. The handstand pirouette off. Oh yeah, look for a big score for Cameron. This young man's having a great meet.
When somebody gets on a roll on the horse, you kind of hold your breath.
You're right.
A 15.050 for Chris Cameron of the Michigan Wolverines. Stephen Legendre on the vault, one of 3 gymnasts with a national qualifying average in the 16s.
We saw his explosive power on the floor. It's also evident here. This will be a handspring double front.
Wow.
Oh, my goodness. Man, he almost landed down in Brooklyn all the way from West Point. That's incredible. This technique is remarkable. He does have to pull his knees apart, which would be a slight deduction. But look how far he lands from the vault table.
Wow, great elevation, huh? 16.150. Only twice this year he has not scored in the 16s on the vault. Illinois' Paul Ruggieri won titles on parallel bars last year at the Big Ten meet, and here at Nationals, he sat down and talked about his goal for this event.
To be honest with you, I've achieved more than I ever thought I would, so I I don't have any individual aspirations at this competition. I already have NCAA championships. The only one I don't have is a team championship. So the last thrill I need in this sport is to win a team championship, and then my collegiate career will be fulfilled.
Well, Bart, the Fighting Illini, they do come in ranked #1.
This is an outstanding event for Illinois and for him in particular, although he's had a rough day. Scored only a 10.75 on pommel horse. He slipped off the rings, and he went out of bounds on his vault, so he needs a good effort here. Oh, I love that move.
Well, it seems like yesterday Ruggieri showed up in Champaign, won a national title as a freshman on the high bar bench.
But a little concern after the Big Ten championships that this whole team at Illinois had peaked a little too early. They are sore, and they haven't quite recovered fully from the Big Ten championships just about a week and a half ago.
15.150 for Paul Ruggieri. The Fighting Illini of Illinois as we move back to the vault to Jake Dalton of Oklahoma. He won the all-around in his very first collegiate competition, the Rocky Mountain Open, on January 16th.
Now he can do a vault, which is a triple twister. I don't think he's going to go for it today. Probably 2.5. Smart move. And it'll get a very high score. What technique. Just a little shorter rotation for Dalton, but a smart move for the team competition.
16.15. That's the 8th time the freshman has scored in the 16s in this event. So here's how they stack up after 5 rotations. And the Buckeyes of Ohio State has climbed to the top of the heap. Stanford now holding down second at 243.45. A lot of gymnastics to go. Stanford, the defending national champs, now find out if they can survive the pommel horse. Rotation 6 just around the corner. Welcome back to West Point in the NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. Mike Gleason along with Bart Connor, the only American to win gold at every level of competition. And Bart, sooner or later, everyone faces the horse. The time has come now for Stanford, the defending champions, here in rotation 6. Ohio State, after climbing to the top of the ladder, they will sit this one out with a bye, so no chance to accumulate any points. Here's Michigan's Philip Goldberg on the rings.
Philip is a senior co-captain along with David Chan. And this guy is a superhuman on this event. Watch how strong he is. Uprise to Maltese in a perfect position. Press up to plunge. Keep in mind the judges look for swing elements, swing to strength moves like that, uprise to plunge, and he's got to hold it for a full 2 seconds. But look at the body position. It's just perfect. Straight lines, good angles throughout. Big Ten champ on the rings last year. Uprise to straddle plunge. Giant around to another straddle plunge. Nice. Start value typically 5.9, meaning a 15.9 would be the highest score he could get. And he is pumped.
He certainly is. Fifth-year senior, 5 second-place finishes on the rings this year. Comes up with a 15.25. Here's Cal's freshman Christian Monteclaro, one of 7 Cal freshmen on the roster this year.
His twin brother Jean is on the team as well. This is a big ball, 2.5 twister. And easily done. He completed the twist and spotted the landing. Nice execution.
16.1. That's a season and career high for him. As we move back to the horse for Lucas Hughes of Stanford. With the 4th best score in yesterday's qualifying session. Actually, the best score for Stanford at 14.45.
He's outstanding on this event. Look at how he swings it out there. Nice straight body line, good aggressive swing. He did his club training in Colorado along with Sasha Artemet, who was a member of the bronze medal winning Olympic team in 2008 for the U.S. Now, on these crossway travels, he's supposed to be facing directly down the length of the horse. If you're more than 15 degrees off, askewed on those circles, you can get a deduction from the judges. Oh, a little
little shaky on the dismount, but I'm thinking we're going to see a good score.
14.4 for Lucas Hughes of Stanford.
Anything over 14 these days on the pommel horse is a good score.
That's Chris Cameron of Michigan. You mentioned earlier in the meet that he was performing very well. Nothing has changed.
Yeah, he's having one of the best meets of his life. This is also a good event for him. 6.0 is his start value. Nice Azarian to cross. That's a back roll around to cross. Good position. It's level.
And you talked about in the Home Depot coaching clinic that 2 seconds on the iron cross. He exceeded that.
Yeah, these gymnasts are very focused on all the positions and all the angles and making sure that they count 1 1,000, 2 1,000. You see, even lift up his head there a little bit as if to emphasize to the judges, hey, I made all 2 seconds. Just want you to know. Just look at the intensity with this young man. So far today, everything he's done has been precise and almost effortless. Some guys you worry they're going to fall, but for some reason you don't worry at all about him. Look at that. Drilled it. What a meet for Cameron. There's that laid out, full out, just perfect in the air.
Well, Cameron with 2 rings titles this year, but that 15.45, that is a new high for this Michigan Wolverine. John Martin had the 5th best score yesterday in the qualifying session. Sophomore from Gainesville, Florida.
He redshirted as a freshman. At 6 feet tall, he's built well for pommel horse. You can see that long body will be an advantage for him. He can really swing it out there. Very high. And look at the difference. Because he's so tall, he swings slower than some of the shorter guys. Very nice travel from one end of the horse all the way to the other end. Same going back. That move is called a Wu Guonian, invented by a famous Chinese gymnast who's now living and coaching in the United States. Oh, he's running out of gas, but he makes that rush in at the end.
I got my arms were tired watching that. The biomechanical engineer major gets a 14.65. Thomas Kelly of Michigan on the rings. He has 2 rings titles this year against Penn State and Oklahoma, both times at a 15.2.
Last year's Big Ten all-around champ and academic All-American. He's really good on this event. His start value usually 6.1 worth of difficulty. Now take a look at his wrist position on the rings in these strength moves. See how his wrist is kind of curled over the ring? That's a little bit like choking up on a baseball bat. And if you do too much choking up, the judge can make a deduction because that makes the leverage of those strength moves a little bit easier. Not that any of this is easy, but they're doing so many strength moves in these routines. Everybody's looking for a way to get through as easily as possible. Oh my God! Wow!
Wow, another slip on the ring.
Oh, it's a good thing he's okay. That could have been ugly. Look at, he was going forward. He's going to do a front flipping dismount. Oh, man. Luckily, he cleared his head on that second rotation. This could have been very ugly. Kurt Golder tries to reach in, but they go down so hard. Wow.
So now you can add Thomas Kelly's name to the list of gymnasts who will have an option for a do-over on the rings. A lot of drama with the rings, and of course, look at the score as we head for the final rotation. Stanford and Oklahoma neck and neck. Michigan, a runner-up spot last year. Now the Wolverines may control their own fate on the vault. Up next, that 7th and final rotation. The 2010 Men's Volleyball Championship will take place at Stanford at Maples Pavilion. Coverage begins with the national semifinals on Thursday, May 6th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN2. For more information on the 2010 Men's Volleyball Championship, go to NCAA.com, the official online home for all 88 NCAA championships.
Bart Connor, we're heading down the stretch. It couldn't be tighter. Stanford, Oklahoma, and Michigan. All teams have had their bye, so all teams, all schools have had the equal number of events now. And as we take a look at the average score per gymnast after 6 rotations.
Boy, and it's close, and Michigan's coming up on the highest scoring event by far, the vault. Stanford will be on the rings where they are outstanding, and Oklahoma will have to deal with the high bar.
So Michigan on the vault, they're ranked 6th. High scoring event, but not their best, Bart.
That's true. In fact, in terms of start value, they give up 1.8 to Stanford on this event and 1.4 to Oklahoma. So they'll need to be clean because they're not going to get big scores as a result of difficulty ratings.
There's the Wolverines' Mel Anton Santander. His high score on the vault this year at 15.95.
Their first vaulter, Rohan Sebastian, had a 15.6. Not bad for Santander. Keep in mind, the start value is a 6.2. Most of the other competitors are starting from 6.6 or even higher. So landings will be critical.
I mentioned his high of 15.95, but he should be happy with that 15.6. As we move over to the rings now with Stanford's Alex Pascalia, a junior. Already a 2-time All-America on the high bar. In last night's qualifying, he scored a 14.35 on the rings. It's interesting, Bart. 4 Stanford gymnasts are ranked in the top 20 on rings, but Pascalia, he is not one of the 4 as they try to defend their title here in the last event.
This is a good event for Stanford in terms of start values. They're going to have to be precise as well because this is going to come down to the last man. A little bit swing in the rings. For every full swing of the rings, it could be as much as a 1/10 of a point deduction. And he froze it. Look at that. He completely killed the swing by the technique of that last giant swing. Nicely done. Oh, and a great dismount. Tucked, double twisting double at the end. That is really hard. One of the most difficult dismounts you can do on the rings. Look at the form. And he just drops it in nicely.
Mentioned he had a 14.35 in qualifying. 14.65 for Alex Pascalia. Let's go back to the vault for Michigan now. It's Thomas Kelly. His high this year, this apparatus, a 15.55.
Remember, he's one of those gymnasts that will have an opportunity to do a do-over on the rings after the meet's over, but now he's got to deal with his vault. This is a 1.5 twister. Nice execution, great landing. That's what Michigan has to do because in terms of start value, it's only a 5.8. It's a lot lower than most of the other guys. So that means it's even more pressure on sticking those landings.
Oh, Kelly stuck that one. And Thomas Kelly comes up with a 15.6, so that tops his high score of the year of 15.55. Let's move over to the pommel horse. Ohio State's Steven Spencer, last year's national runner-up on this apparatus.
Well, the sophomore is a tiny little guy. He's 5'3", 104 pounds. But in many ways, he's built perfectly for this event because look how he can keep that body stretched out. He's very light.
You can see the lightness as he flies around. Huh?
And he's got great elevation over the pommel, so he's doing a ton of difficult elements. This is great. His father was a jockey. Oh, this is nice. Look for a big score there. Hard routine and great execution.
Steven Spencer, last year's national runner-up, pulls in a 15.20 for the Ohio State Buckeyes. Back to the rings, Stanford's Nicholas Noon, a junior from Danbury, Connecticut.
Talk about a contrast in body styles. This guy's arms weigh 104 pounds. Noon is strong.
You know, I was going to ask you when the ring busted way back in the meets, you see how well defined these gymnasts are. How much time do they spend in the weight room?
Well, you know, when you think about it, all you have to do is spend 2/3 of your day pushing your body around on the rings and you're going to get enormously strong. Some use weight training as a supplement, but most of gymnastics, the resistance training really comes from manipulating your own body through these remarkable moves. He's not only strong, but he has good swing technique in those front flipping moves called Yamawakis, invented by the great Japanese gymnast.
Moon pivotal in last year's national championship, came up with a career best 15.45 on the rings.
Watch how locked out his arms are, and a laid out, full out, just a little shorter rotation. Boy, Stanford's good on this event. See that great body position, control of the rings. Sets up the dismount. He keeps his body straight and does one full twist. Just has to pike it down a little bit. Probably 3/10 of a point deduction for that hop.
Nicholas Noon, 15.0 for the Stanford Cardinal. Now the maize and blue of Michigan waiting, no doubt wondering if they can hold on and head back to Ann Arbor with their 4th national title. The suspense is killing some. Welcome back to West Point, Michigan on the vault. Which brings us to our second Coca-Cola storyline. Bart, is this now a 2-horse race between Michigan and Stanford?
It sure looks that way. Oklahoma's over on the high bar, but in terms of start values and strength of events, it really is coming down to Michigan's vault against Stanford's rings. Nice landing for Caldwell. Watch this vault. It is a half on and a laid out 1.5 off, a 6.4 start value. Well done, and this team is pumped up, and he lands right in the middle of those white lines. No deduction for being out of line.
The only Wolverine ranked in the top 20 on the vaults, and Ken Caldwell with a 15.90. Great score for Michigan as they can see the light at the end of the tunnel, maybe, as we move over to the high bar with Oklahoma. Stephen Legendre is the national all-round champion from a year ago. He has 2 high bar titles this year.
Their high score so far over here on the high bar, 14.35 for Ian Jackson. Watch these big release moves for Legendre. He does them so easily. A piked Kovacs, which is a double backflip over the bar. He's going to do another one tucked. Wow. He finishes them so high, he has plenty of time to prepare to catch the bar and swing through to the next move. You can see he's working to finish those pirouette skills as close to handstand as possible to get full credit. Great looking hop full. Now all he has left is the triple somersault, and I think he's one of the best in the world. Look at that.
Wow. Wow. Stephen Legendre, his high score of 14.9 this year.
Watch how he uses the flexing of the bar to set himself up for that double back somersault over the top. And this triple somersault is done in almost an open tuck position. Just great technique.
So Stephen Legendre, I mentioned his high of 14.9. He pulls in a 14.50. Back to the rings now. Tim Gentry of Stanford is ranked number 2 in the country on the rings. Last year as a sophomore, Gentry finished 4th on this apparatus.
He has the highest start value on Stanford's team, 6.3. Good strength combination there at the top of the routine. Rise to Maltese. Oh, bounce cross. He barely held that Maltese cross the full 2 seconds. Keep in mind, as we said earlier, if you don't hold it a full 2 seconds, it could be as 3/10 of a point deduction. That strength move is held long enough. This meet is going on very long because they had to change the rings and reset them and re-chalk them up. So this has been a long day for these young men.
And they say it's never over till it's over, but can the Stanford athletes feel it slipping away now?
Well, it's coming down to the final guys. There's no question about it. Outstanding finish for Gentry. Is it going to be enough? Michigan over there, they've already had 4 strong vaulters. I really don't think that Gentry could have done better at this moment. It's just, is it going to be enough to overcome Michigan's clean vaults?
A 15.150 for Tim Gentry. who says his greatest athletic moment was hitting his ring routine at the 2008 NCAA championships. Chris Cameron of Michigan on the vaults with his game face on.
Boy, he is focused. We talked earlier about the condition of his right leg called hemihypertrophy. And you can see it clearly there that that right leg isn't quite as developed in the lower part of his leg as his left. All right. A Sukahara double twister. It's only a 6.2 start value, but his coach Xiao Yuan, the assistant at Michigan, thinks it's probably enough. He certainly doesn't quite have the power and the distance that some of the other gymnasts do, but they already have 4 great vaults for Michigan. This is not only for pride, but maybe for an all-around title for Cameron as well. He's had a fantastic meet, start to finish.
A fantastic season for Chris Cameron, which obviously be icing on the cake with a national championship. Gets a hug from Kurt Golder, and Cameron score 15.45 on the vault for the Michigan Wolverines. Now we still have to head back to the rings for some second chances, but as Stanford glances up at that scoreboard, they know their hopes of defending their national crown have come up short. Now the Wolverines' Thomas Kelly, one of the student athletes who fell in the rings earlier, so the junior is back to try it again.
Yeah, this is a whole unbelievable set of circumstances that at the end of the meet, some of these gymnasts are being allowed for do-overs, but it is the right decision for the benefit of the athlete. Thomas Kelly, as you might remember, took a nasty crash off rings. Luckily, he wasn't seriously hurt, so he has a chance now to redo his ring routine. The score will count towards his all-around standings, as well as Michigan's team total, even though they've already sealed the victory here.
Got a national championship trophy waiting in the wings. Kelly's probably can't wait to get off the rings right now and start celebrating with his fellow Wolverines.
You see Kurt Golder step in because it's right here on this dismount coming up where he slipped off. Okay, good job, a pike double front dismount and a big relief for Thomas and Kurt Golder. It's a great looking dismount, and what a scary fall he had earlier. Great to see him have a chance to recover.
So Thomas Kelly on his redo comes back with a 14.65, but hey, the most important thing, he knows his Wolverines are about to be crowned national champions. Now, if you remember, Illinois' Tyler Williamson was on the rings when they broke. You know, Bart, he injured his shoulder a little bit, so this is kind of a gutsy play by the Illinois senior.
It certainly is, and he's had an injured shoulder most of the year. Most of these ring guys' shoulders are pretty beat up. But he's been in the training room for the last couple of hours trying to recover, getting massages, muscle stim treatment. You can see the grimace on his face because that broken ring aggravated his already painful shoulder. Now this could have implications because Illinois and Cal are in a close battle for 4th and 5th in the competition.
Plus, he being a senior, why not come back? Now this could be his final try.
It certainly could be. Look at him fight through this routine. You can see the grimace. All the other guys from all the other teams are down on the floor cheering him on. This has been a long, tough day. And you can see the effort for Williamson as Ivan Ivankov congratulates him.
Williamson with a 14.90. As Kurt Golder is about to receive his 2nd national championship, the 4th for Michigan. Bart Conner headed down to talk to the champs when we return to West Point.
The NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship is presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. We'll pick you up.
Welcome back to the Holiday Center, where the Michigan Wolverines have won the 2010 NCAA Men's Gymnastics Championship. Less than a point ahead of runner-up Stanford. Tyler Williamson's comeback effort on the ring certainly worth it for Illinois, pushing the Illini from 5th to 4th. Oklahoma and Stanford each with 2 gymnasts with top scores. Best score on the high bar belonged to Michigan's Ian Mikowski, with fellow Wolverine Chris Cameron winning the all-around. Now let's go downstairs where Bart Conner is standing by with the national champs.
Kurt, what an incredible night. You seem to get your team to peak at the right point in the season. How did you pull that off this year?
Oh, it started last year. You know, right after NCAAs last year, we made a commitment to try to win it this year.
Right.
We just worked hard all year long. And fortunately, it all came together.
Now, your first win since back in 1999, fourth win overall. I mean, could you point to a key moment tonight that really brought it together for the team?
No, I think it was just throughout the night, just keeping our focus in the right place and our emotions intact and so forth.
I noticed when I saw you compete in the qualifying round that you're very clean, and obviously that was a key factor in winning by a very small margin over a great team from Stanford.
Well, thank you. And part of it is start score, and the other part is eliminate deductions, and that's what we've been working at.
Well, congratulations. Go Blue.
Thank you. Thanks, Bart. Okay.
Kurt Golder with the second national championship at Michigan, the fourth for the Wolverines, as Stanford and Michigan flip-flop from last year. Bart, what stands out in your mind about tonight's competition?
Well, it certainly was a great meet, and the quality of competition was world-class, but this year is going to go down as the year the ring broke, no question about it.
It certainly was a great evening for gymnastics. For Bart Conner and the rest of our ESPN crew, Mike Leeson saying so long. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Congratulations to the Michigan Wolverines.